ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ, ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਆ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਆਪਣੀ ਕਬੱਡੀ ਅੱਜ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਐਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਲੇਅਰ ਆਇਆ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਵੀ ਕਬੱਡੀ ਸਿਰਫ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਤੱਕ ਹੀ ਸੀਮਿਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ। ਅੱਜ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਪਹੁੰਚਿਆ ਮਾਂ-ਖੇਡ ਕਬੱਡੀ ਦਾ ਸੁਲੱਖਣ ਪੁੱਤ ਜੈਰੋ ਚਾਵੇਜ਼। Welcome, Jairo.
Welcome,
How have you
welcome.
been?
Good to see you, brother.
Good,
Yeah.
good. I remember you came back in 2015 World Cup and you came as a stopper.
Yeah.
But throughout the years, you've came as a raider, permanent raider. How has that been?
It's been great. You know, as a stopper, you know, there's 3 other stoppers, and they want to make their name in the game. You know, they want to be remembered as one of the best, right? So as a stopper, I had to compete with my own teammates, right? Like I want to go, I want to wait, I want to set it up, but you have other players jumping in, and you know, this is something that every stopper knows.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to go when you want to go. Then you're going too early. Then there's no element of surprise. You have to be able to kind of get the raider to not know when you're going.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I did a really good job. You know, I traveled the world, came here, put on a show, stopping. But I just noticed that as a raider, because my brother, as you know, he used to stop too, and he jumped into raiding and was one of the best raiders.
Yeah.
And I just saw the difference, how the players interact and how the sponsors and everything, you know. And I just realized, man, I'm a raider.
Yeah.
So I jumped right over, followed my brother, and I haven't looked back, you know.
Yeah. And can you share some experience with us? How you got into kabaddi? Who got you into kabaddi?
Yeah. Funny enough, I've been playing for 14 years now. So I remember one of my buddies in my hometown, Gurpreet Singh, and he was like, you guys should come, and because we're wrestlers, me and my brother, and he kind of invited us to go to a kabaddi tournament where they were going to do wrestling, and there was a young wrestler that nobody could beat. And my brother was like, well, we'll go. So we ended up going. My brother ended up wrestling him and beating him. And it was funny enough, after my brother won, they gave my brother a trash bag. And we're like, oh, what do we do? What do we do with that? And one of the guys was like, you walk around and people will, you know, tip you. You know, they enjoyed the show. We're like, what? Okay. So we walked around, we filled that bag up. Our mind was like blown. We've been wrestling, paying to wrestle. We've been playing football, you know, doing things where we have to pay to do it. And all of a sudden we're in this sport, and we got paid, and we're like, where's the next tournament? We want to go. Like, I'll wrestle next tournament. And so we drove about 3 hours the following week to a tournament, and they canceled the wrestling. So it was canceled. We're like, whoa, we drove all this way. And we start looking at kabaddi, and, you know, I grew up in Yuba City, and, you know, that's like the mecca for Punjabi community, and like all my friends, like we grew up in the same culture basically, and so we kind of already knew about kabaddi, and so we're like, hey, you know, what are the rules? How can we play? And it just so happened that there was a new team. Amin Tamana, he had just made a team, and our buddy asked him if we could play, and he had a wrestling background, so he was like, yeah, okay, we'll throw you in. We'll try, you know. And funny enough, I actually started as a raider. So like they're like, you gotta touch, you have 30 seconds, you gotta touch and run back between the sandbags. I said, okay. I mean, I did track and field in high school. I played American football, and obviously wrestled. So I was like, okay, this should be easy. And you think it's easy when you're looking, when you're watching, you're like, oh, it's super easy. You just touch and run back. But you gotta factor in all the techniques. A lot of these players, you know, since they were kids, they've been playing in India. So this sport, they grow up learning from, you know, the legends, right? And they learn little proper techniques with just beautiful setups, right? And then the out of bounds, you know, they move, they set you up, they push you out. They have a lot of communication. And so I just remember like, oh, that's easy. And as soon as I jumped in, I was like, oh, this is not easy. Like, first, I'm used to wearing shoes, right? Wrestling shoes or cleats for football, spikes for track and field. And you're on grass. You don't have any traction. You're just kind of slipping. We're not used to running barefoot anymore. Now we're so modern. We have shoes, right?
Yeah.
And it took me about a year to kind of get used to running barefoot. I would get blood blisters on the bottom of my feet.
Yeah.
You can't even put any weight on it. You're rolling your ankles. Just so many little injuries that can happen in the first year. But the reward is obviously you get to travel the world, right? And you get to meet wonderful people. And, you know, kabaddi now is like part of my life. Like, you know, the people who know me know that I play kabaddi, you know? So, yeah.
And the difference with the fields, because I know you in USA you guys play on the non-grass field, but whereas in Australia and you just saw outside now there's grass. Do you feel any difference in that?
Yeah, there's major differences. Like when you play on dirt, you know, you're gonna have more traction. The stoppers can shoot a little better. You're a little more sticky when they grab you because of the dirt. And sometimes we play on wrestling mats, and that's, you know, stoppers can shoot from like 5 feet away. Also, too, the Raider has more traction, so they can juke a little faster. So, you know, obviously, once your feet get used to the ground, you can kind of play anywhere. But you do have to adapt. You do have to mentally prepare yourself for the slipping, you know, for not being able to push when you want to push, when the grass is a little wet, and now you have a guy who's like 280, you know, 6'6", and they're just a wall in front of you. And you can't juke them. You have to go through them, and it's very hard to push somebody, especially when the grass is wet, right? So you just gotta adapt on all these techniques that you acquire over the years. You know, 14 years now, I played as a stopper, and now I'm a Raider. So I know kind of what the stoppers are doing, what they're thinking, how they're thinking. And it really helps with my approach, just in general, mentally. Like I'm very confident in my game because of it.
And I would like to ask, what does a typical day training look like for you?
Oh,
because
man,
I saw on your Instagram you've got a bench press right next to your bed.
Yeah. Oh man, let me tell you. I mean, even if I didn't play kabaddi and I had a regular job, I used to work as a sheriff. I still made it part of my life to train. You know, you only get old when you stop moving, right? When you get too relaxed, right? And so, yeah, I've had a bench press in my room since I was in middle school. I don't know if you guys remember the little plastic covered concrete weights. They're like bulky. They're made out of concrete. You drop them, they break. So I had a little bench like that in my room, and I'd be watching TV. As soon as the commercials came on, I'd hit some reps. Me and my brother would hit some reps, and then TV show comes back on, we go back to watching. So working out it will always be, even when I'm done playing, you know. And I recommend, you know, if you're at home and you're watching sports, just start walking. Start taking a walk. You know, a lot of people are kind of intimidated of gyms. But you got to understand that everybody in there also has that fear. You know, it's only once you realize that, like, they're trying to do the same thing. They're on the treadmill too. You know, I'm just, you know, get your headphones in, put on your favorite music, and honestly, just get to work, get moving, just moving your body. And you might not know anything, but look at the person next to you. Okay, he's doing that. Okay, I'll try that after they're done. And there's a lot of these machines are preset, you know, shoulder press, bench, whatever. They're all preset, so you can start with machines. But I definitely recommend, it doesn't, you know, age is just a number. And the sooner you guys can get into the gym and just understand that everybody's there for the same thing. Nobody's judging. We just get caught up in our heads, you know?
And I want to ask this for youngsters, how these days social media has a big influence on fitness. If we see at the gyms, most of the guys who even want to play sports, they're training like a bodybuilder. What would you say to the young generation who wants to get into sports? Because, you know, you've played football, you've done wrestling. What sort of things do they look into?
Yeah, so, you know, the days of just doing your sport and becoming the best, those are long gone. You cannot just practice your sport and be the best anymore.
Yeah.
You have to follow it up with cardio. You have to follow it up with lifting. And, you know, I believe right now, like, I don't need to learn anything else. The knowledge is in there. What I need to be able to do is do it all day, right? And that doesn't matter what sport. If you're doing jiu-jitsu, MMA, right? Any other sport, you have to have the cardio, because it's like, if I'm super, super tired right now and I'm the best in the world and I can barely move, if you and I were to wrestle, you would take me down, right?
Probably not.
But if I'm that tired, anybody can, it's when you're tired, it's the worst, it's the worst feeling in the world. And that's why I believe cardio is the most important thing. And that's why, like you asked about the training, I do 3 workouts a day. Most kabaddi tournaments, there's 3 matches, right? So I like to prepare myself, in the morning, in the afternoon, and then at night. At night, I finish with a stationary bike. So I'll either, depending if I run a long distance, I'll do a shorter bike, stationary bike. If I don't run very long, then I'll do an hour on the bike. But I'm doing cardio twice a day, and then I'm either lifting or I'm wrestling or some kind of jiu-jitsu, something where I'm being physical. So, sometimes I work out 4 times a day, but for the most part, I like to know I worked out 3 times, and 2 of those were cardio. And it shows in my game. I can really fight out of things and then do another raid. And that's going to be what jumps the sport. Once players start, I can't just play kabaddi. I have to actually, it actually happened, when me and my brother first started playing, a lot of players were not lifting weights. You can look back at our early videos where you're watching us work out in the gym, and then we're playing, and it's like, who are these white guys? Who are these guys playing this sport and doing good at it? And it kind of started an avalanche of like, oh, we can do that too. We're gonna do that. We want to look good. We want to show our bodies and show what we've done our whole lives in the game, right? And I mean, now look, all the players are getting fit and they're huge, and like the game is just elevated, right? And so it's very important to not just lift, but also do the cardio. That's the not fun part. It's fun to go to the gym, get a pump and get the veins popping. I get it. But also follow it up with that cardio.
And now I would like to ask you about your experience in India when you went for World Cup. How was that like?
Hey, I've been there 3 times now, and every time I've gone, you notice changes. It's getting more modern. There's the roads are better. They're enforcing the laws, the traffic. I haven't been there for a while, for years now, but my experience there, it's kind of like Mexico. To me, it's very familiar. And the last time I was there, I was like going around Jalinder and Model Town, and I was telling the taxi which way to go. Like, I knew where I was. It was like home. And I would like to go back. I'm just looking for a big tournament. It has to be a big tournament. And but man, when I go to India, it's crazy. It's like a lot of love, man. I mean, they only get to see the game, right? They only get to see me playing on the TV, right? They don't ever get to see me. And so it shows when I'm there. They're just like, man, it's like it goes nuts.
And what goes through your mind when you're raiding? It's a tight match, final points. What goes through your mind?
Well, I kind of have a system, right? So because I was a stopper, right, I understood the technique of patience, right? You have 30 seconds, okay? So as a stopper, I want to back up and I want to go to the left or to the right. I want to waste as much time as I can. If I can waste 15 seconds of the Raiders' time, that helps me out. That makes it to where if I jump in front, he has 15 seconds to try to get past me, right? Now I can use my wrestling. Now I can try to grab him. He has to drag me, pick me up. Time is against him. Time is clicking, right? So I understand that stoppers don't want to go fast. So as a raider, what do I want to do? I want to go
Go fast.
fast
Yeah.
because I have more time.
Yeah.
When they grab my leg, I can fight it for 25 seconds.
Mhm.
You know, it can change. Every raid is different.
Yeah.
It's like bowling, right? You go, you get a strike. You want to do the same thing over and over and over to get a strike. But sometimes you don't get the strike, okay?
Yeah.
So kabaddi is the same. It's not, I can have a system, but that system can change depending on what the stopper does. But for the most part, when I raid, the reason why I don't get nervous and I can go, a lot of players play year round. I only play like my summer, the US season, right?
Yeah.
Or the Canadian season. I don't really play India. So why is it that I can not play for a long time and then first match I play really well, don't get stopped? You know, the reason why is because I have a system. I follow it, and I never, even if I don't feel comfortable, I still do it.
Yeah.
You know, because once you're in the middle of the season, you start to feel comfortable. You played them already. They're kind of scared. They don't really want to go. You know who does. You know who doesn't. And for me personally, I like to touch within the first 8 seconds. I want to touch.
Yeah.
Because now the stop line is, they don't know what to do. They're scrambling. They're running. And it's not fun as a stopper. I didn't want to be running and shooting.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be faking, take my shot, right?
Yeah.
So these little things that I learned as a stopper, I use as a raider. And so I get the line moving, I make them uncomfortable, and then somebody has to jump out, right?
Yeah.
And then it's an easy touch. And I have a lot of time. If it's not an easy touch, I have a lot of time to fight it. And that's the thing. That's where the cardio comes in that I've been doing. I'll fight it. They'll grab me. It looks like he stopped. They got him. And all of a sudden I'm out and I'm gone.
Yeah.
It's cardio, right?
Yeah.
And it's the fact that I know I went to touch really fast. Because now I have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess that puts a lot of pressure on the stoppers.
Yes.
As you're touching first.
So then I don't have to be nervous or anything. I know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And they have to follow my lead. Because the stoppers, they want to control you.
Yeah.
They want to take you to the corner or the other corner. They want to waste time. I'm not giving them what they want.
Yeah.
And right there, it's never going to be a fun opportunity to get me. So obviously every match you kind of develop something new. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to be really low. Okay, no, this guy, I'm going to be a little higher. You develop little things that you can do, but for the most part, it's good to have a plan, right? So, yeah.
And also kabaddi, being an intense game, you get injured quite a lot.
Yeah.
How do you come over that mentally? Because I know it can be a lot of pressure from the teams, from the players, and not being able to play for a while. Yeah. Especially for a sports person, it's really hard to not train.
Yeah.
What do you say on that?
Well, that's the thing. So every sport there's injuries, right? Every sport you're gonna have an injury. I grew up playing and having to keep going through the season with injuries, right? So you have to be mentally strong. And when you wrestled and you have that background, it allows you to kind of see little injuries and you're like, okay, I've been here before, right? Kabaddi is a little interesting, obviously, because there's no shoulder pads, there's no helmet.
Nothing.
You're going to war basically.
Yeah.
You're fighting somebody for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think that in general, we have to kind of get used to it, right? Just be okay with being uncomfortable. Yeah.
And who are some of your favorite players from stopper and raiders?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I always say Pala because he's a legend, man.
Yeah.
Like, and Sandeep Nangalambia, I got to play against him, and man, he was the gladiator, for sure. For sure, man. And that combination with Cushy and in the stop line, it made me better, right? There's not a lot of players that can stop me, even if I give them my leg. Yeah. Take it. Yeah. It's very hard to stop me. And so the players that can consistently stop me, at any given time, I have to look at that and I have to I have to be happy that I'm getting pushed.
Yeah.
Right? Because if nobody could stop me and I'm just getting away and it's super easy, I don't get better.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's just kind of like, oh yeah, right now, if I get stopped, the crowd goes wild, right?
Yeah.
And when I get away, the crowd goes wild.
Yeah.
So I have love, and those players to do that to me, they have to be high level,
Yeah.
right? And so when I think of like best players, right, you gotta Pala, right?
Yeah.
And Sandeep Nangalambia, he did some things where it was like, wow, like I haven't felt a stopper like him, just
Superhuman.
just to think about, like I have not felt the strength of a person. And I played, there's a lot of up and coming players, but to get to his level, there's a little bit to go.
Yeah,
but yeah.
And who's your best raider? What do you say?
Best raider, it's funny. I say what's his name? I always go with obviously I like Dula. Dula's doing good, and he's been playing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But what is his name? He's the skinny one that just gets away from everybody. Jeevan. I really enjoy watching him. And who's the other raider that's like short? Short, fast. He's like, he gets away sometimes.
There's a few. Honey, is it?
No, not him. Maybe actually, he's super short.
Yeah,
he's like,
and
he's like a little ball of muscle. He just gets away from everybody. Yeah. So I like to see raiders that you don't think could get away, because like I'm not a little player. I'm not tall, but I'm not short.
Yeah.
And I know how hard it is to get away. So when I see a guy who's like half my size, and he's getting away from like the all-stars, right? Yeah. I go, wow, see, like it can be done, right? Yeah. You learn techniques. Like I always, even when I was wrestling, I never learned techniques from the big guys. Yeah. Because the technique doesn't really matter at the higher weight classes. The higher weight classes, guys get tired really fast, and technique isn't that important. Power, But the little guys, they have to be very technical in the way that they hop in, hop out, the way they juke, the way they avoid getting grabbed. So I always look at the raiders that are small and powerful. Like I have in my hometown, Arshi Sandhu, and he was a stopper, and then he started raiding, and he has a lot of good technique. He showed me like in the beginning of the game, Junie Gill, we're all from the same town. Yeah. And so when I first started, they were my guys that like showed me little things, little techniques. And so I always learned from the smaller weight classes, and now I'm doing the things that the little guys do, So but again, cardio, very important. Yeah. I can't express that enough. Like you can't just jog 10 yards and do some burpees. Like you have to put in the miles. That's what like when you're running and you want to quit and you still got 2 more miles and you want to quit on the first mile, it makes you mentally strong. And so when I'm out here on Sunday and everybody's like, wonder what he's thinking. Yeah. It's time to shine. Yeah. It's time to have fun. I've been training every day for the last 2 months, getting ready for this tournament, and nobody has seen what I'm doing. Yeah. Right. So Sunday, everybody's gonna get to see all my hard work paying off. I'm gonna go and put on a show, and that's what makes me excited. I'm not nervous. I'm excited. Yeah. Like that's what they say, right? Like, are you nervous? No, I'm excited. Yeah. Like,
you're ready for it.
I've been wanting to play, been trying to speed up time. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I think.
Now we'll just start to wrap up.
Okay.
I've got a few more questions. What advice would you give to young athletes that want to pursue in kabaddi?
Yeah, I think it's very important. Obviously, I mean, if you're not born in India, right, and you're trying to play from like in the States or Canada, New Zealand or Australia, right, and I think it's really good to actually obviously practice the game, but not get injured while you're practicing. You got to make it to the show, right? Yeah. You can't like. I see a lot of guys playing and they're getting hurt before they even get to the tournament. Yeah. So a lot of that. With that being said, obviously you have to watch a lot of the game, study the game, right? But when you are practicing, practice stopping and rating. Do both.
Okay.
When you're starting out,
Hmm.
I believe you should do both. Learn
Yeah.
both sides.
Yeah.
Because if you just do one, you'll never know. Maybe you could have been the best at the other one.
Yeah.
But you never gave it a shot. So now you're over here dealing with politics and dealing with this and that. And it's kabaddi like any other game. Like if you don't perform,
Nobody's gonna
everybody loves a winner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody loves a winner.
Yeah.
So for my advice for a kid, get to the gym, obviously work out, get that cardio. There's local clubs all around everywhere, find a local club, join the wrestling team, join the jiu-jitsu team, just get in there where you're being physical, even boxing, whatever, it doesn't matter. But get in there, learn some technique, and obviously when you are in the ground and you're practicing, try both. Because your mind will open up. You won't be susceptible to injuries anymore because you'll know what you're looking for, what they're looking for. And I think that's anybody who's ever trying to play, I always tell them, start with rating.
Yeah.
Start with rating just so that you know what's
going on.
What's happening, right? And then after that, you can try, stopping just to learn it, right? But you're always going to get a chance as a raider.
Yeah.
As a stopper, you might not get a chance.
Yeah.
You might be on the sidelines for a long time.
Yeah.
So what's the quickest way to get some game time? Raid. Go for a raid. And that's what I always tell everybody. Like, learn both, but definitely when you get the opportunity, because you will get the opportunity as a raider, go. And don't worry if you get stopped.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Because in this game, people won't tell you you're good. People won't, certain things won't, right away, they're not going to tell you you're doing great or you have potential. So you got to be aware, like, it's okay if you get stopped. Just keep going. Don't quit. Don't let people around you say, oh, well, you this or you that. Don't do it. Don't let them get in your ear. Because, even me, when I first started, nobody told me I was like, going to be the best.
Yeah.
I got stopped a couple times. It's like, well, I want to go stop. I'm a wrestler. I'll go try stopping.
Yeah.
But if I would have just stayed raiding from the very beginning, I would have 14 whole years of raiding.
Yeah.
And that matters, right? So don't get caught up in what people say or don't say. Just know that you're putting in the work and it will eventually pay off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And on the last question, I would like to ask you, how do you see kabaddi evolving in the future? Whether it's raising awareness and public these days.
Yeah.
How do you see the future of kabaddi?
Hey man, when I think of the future of kabaddi, I think like Olympics, right? Because they've been trying to do it, and they had the World Cup in India, and that was an amazing experience, and I think a lot of people tuned in, and it was very popular. I would like to see that come back, obviously, and then Canada, they have their own high school leagues where they play other schools. That's amazing, right? And back in my town, obviously, Yuba City, I'm known for kabaddi.
Yeah.
And the wrestling rooms, the kids are, after practice, they'll go and play kabaddi. Like, when have you heard that, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so it's getting more common, right? And man, I would just love to see, like, I would like to see the people just get together, because there's always, not just kabaddi, every sport.
Yeah.
There's going to be, it's like how they say there's too many chiefs, right? Appoint certain people and then they run it. And get everybody together. And man, there's no reason why this sport can't be, like the NBA, like NFL. Like, there's no reason. This sport is so exciting when you're watching. Yeah. Like, there's not a time that's boring. Because one raider goes, he either gets away or he gets stopped, right? Then the other raiders going. So it's a constant. And you're not just like playing patty cake. You're getting hit, you're hitting, you're trying to get away. So there's really nothing like it. And we just got to get the people to just get together, screw the politics. Let's make this the number one sport in India. Like, why is cricket? Why is cricket number one? This is the sport, this is, and you see the women's tournaments and they know how to do it. They're looking good while they're playing. Like, it's got the potential, man, and obviously it is growing. It's huge, but I would just like to see it where it's like how I was saying, where we do the league. We have a tournament in New Zealand, a tournament in Australia, a tournament in Dubai, one in England, one in Canada, one in the U.S., right? We get that going with the main players, right? I mean, who wouldn't tune in, you know? So, yeah, that's what I think.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks for connecting with us,
Yeah.
and good luck for Sunday.
Hell yeah.
And would you like to give a message to our audience?
Yeah, well, I would like to say, you know, I'm very happy. I'm very proud to be in this culture, and I'm very appreciative of all the love that I get since my brother's passing. And you know, it's something I have to live with for the rest of my life. And I just enjoy when people come up to me and they say sorry about your brother, sorry about his loss. Like I really appreciate that, and it keeps me going. And like I always say, you know, I used to play this game for other reasons. I play this game now so that when you guys see me, you see him. And legends never die, right? And if I can keep his name alive in this game, I'm going to do it for as long as possible. And I just thank you guys for the support, and let's put on a show Sunday.
Great. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank
you.
Brother.